Hello, hello.
I have to unmute for you to hear me.
There we go.
Unmute.
Unmute, Rose.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Yep.
That's the worst part of this. I have to watch myself while I'm talking.
I know. Cameron, we can hear you today. That's cool.
Yeah.
How much time do we have?
Hang on. 3 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. I'll be right back. I gotta get some water.
So, Rose, I think I'm going to just ask you to tell us some stories today, too. You've had your book is just full of so many tremendous stories. I'm going to ask you to share a few of them. Huh?
New ones.
I'm sure you do.
Can't hear you really well, Rose.
Oh,
You got to speak up. You got to really speak up. Can't hear you very well.
is that better?
Nope.
No.
You're really low. You might have to turn up your volume of your microphone.
Where do I find that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably down on the lower part of your screen somewhere. There'll be some.
Or check your volume control in the corner of
Yeah.
your computer.
There's probably an icon down there that looks like a speaker.
My keyboard, mouse.
Something got louder.
Did you find it?
No.
No. Is that better?
That's a little
No.
better.
A little bit better, but you're still kind of far away.
Yeah, we'll just.
I am practically sitting on top of my computer.
There we go.
Yeah.
That'll work. That'll work. That's good. I can hear it pretty good, Kim.
Okay.
Just talk like the tiger. Roar.
It's hard for me to project when I tell stories because
That's way good right there. You're doing good. That's good.
The interesting thing is, though, Todd, that when you start talking, she gets muted.
I know. You do too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
Well, it's the way the software is set up, Cam. You can see that the screen of whoever's talking gets highlighted.
Yeah.
So it's called half duplex is what that's called.
Okay, I've not seen that before on here, so.
Normally because only one person at a time is talking.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I don't think you have very many hosts that do multiple co-hosts, do you?
No.
Yeah. I'm special.
What's this show called today? Is this the one I chat with modern? No, that's not it.
Yeah. Chat with
What is it?
modern Dr. Doolittle or something like
Okay.
that.
All right. Stand by.
Rose Dedan.
Yep. Got it. Okay. All right. Stand by. Here we go.
Consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day. And like you all know, and like I like to say, that's because I make it that way. Life Mastery Radio, the talk show that brings you great thoughts and ideas for you to use on your very own life mastery journey. As always, I kind of like to get centered. I do like to get centered before the show starts. And if we just take a minute, maybe close your eyes if you felt comfortable doing so, and just really, and we're going to talk about this on the show today, but I really want you to focus on just getting consciously connected to the all. I'm going to call it the all, but you might recognize it as God, Allah, nature. It might even be the doorknob that opens the door to go outside. Whatever that is, just connect to it. Consciously connect. And let's take in a deep breath. Real deep all the way down there, and let that breath out with a big ah, and just let it roll right up through your heart center, out of your speaker box, and out into the universe, the all, whatever it is that you believe in. And just really focus on being connected to that which gives you power. Let's do that one more time. And this time I want you to just pick a couple things that you're grateful for. What is it that you have a lot of gratitude for today? And just release those and let them go. Let them flow right out of you with a big ah. And there you go. That's that simple to get centered and relaxed. And I've been reading a lot of articles lately about gratitude and how powerful it can be in our lives and how much it will get us centered and grounded and happy. That's the last one that I read. It was just how gratitude and an attitude of gratitude can bring a certain amount of happiness to your life. As always, I have my co-host with me today, Jackie Bailey. She's riding shotgun, and good day, Jackie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Look, the sun is shining.
I know. It's a
my window.
beautiful day out on a lake. I live on a lake. And I have lots of animals that visit me. I'm looking out. A blue jay just came by a little while ago, and squirrels running up and down the trees. And of course, I have my 3 chickens, 2 dogs, and a cat,
And a partridge in a pear tree.
and a blue jay and a partridge. and guess what, Jackie? I'm getting a kitten.
Are ya?
I'm getting a new little baby kitten. He's about 5 weeks old, and a Siamese at that.
Ah, they have a really loud meow.
I know. I've had Siamese before, and I've always wanted to get another one. So he just popped into my world. A friend of a friend just had a litter of kittens, and there happens to be one Siamese in that litter.
Yeah. And
So
so
it's
how's
kind
he
of a
going to get
mix.
along with your current cat?
Yeah.
You think they're going to be okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The
I've
kitten
never
will
had an
probably be
issue
okay.
with that. We can talk to our guest today about that. But I did want to highlight one thing. You and I spent Sunday cruising up I-5 to the University of British Columbia.
We left the country together.
We did.
Rumors are going to fly.
It is so bizarre to drive. And so then we arrive in this new country, and their stoplights aren't the same, and they have flashing green lights and flashing red lights, and but it's kind of the same. But we showed up, and we were asked to be judges for a speech contest for little people. I mean,
Well, children.
little humans, right?
Right.
And it was a really cool experience. I had a blast. And these little people were from, what would you say, 5?
Well, I think they were first grade. The youngest group was first grade to 4th grade, I think. So they probably would have been around 6.
6 young people. And then it went up to 16. And, I was really shocked, Jackie, that the topic of a lot of those speeches was climate change and world health and, consciousness.
Conservation, that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that must be a big topic in school, that they must be talking about that in school, or else these kids are involved in community organizations that are teaching them about these things. But the power is that's what they chose to talk about, right?
Right.
In a competition where they probably got to choose, to some degree, the topic they wanted to most focus on, that's what they chose. And that was very interesting.
Well, and I think it's all over the news. I mean, the sky is falling. And I get that, but we don't need to scare people.
No, but I don't know that these kids are watching the news.
Right.
They
Well,
are. I doubt it.
It's part of our energy field. I mean, it's everywhere. Well, we'll talk to Rose a little bit about that. So I want to remind the listeners that today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.com or .net. Either one will get you there. You can check out our guest, and any links that we talk about on the show today will be there. You can sign up for our newsletter, and this is really cool because it's a brand new website. We're still working with it a little bit. There's still some changes, but please go there and check it out. Let me know what you think. I think it's really cool. What do you think about it, Jack?
I think it looks fabulous.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's nice and just fresh and easy. Yep.
Easy to navigate. You can find links to my book, of course. My book is right there, and you can click on that and read my book and love it and leave me some great feedback on Amazon. That would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you. Our newsletter is there. You can sign up for our newsletter. And I think that if you really wanted to get excited about getting our newsletter, you can text Jackie.
Text Life Mastery Radio to 22828. So just poke on your phone, 22828, and make sure it says Life Mastery Radio. And then you'll get a response, and they'll ask you for an email. And then that puts you right into our list, and you'll start getting our newsletter the next day if that's the case. So
bada boom, bada bang.
And it's just once a week that you get it. We
just use that email for that newsletter, and that newsletter includes who's been on the show, who's coming on the show, and who'll be on in a couple weeks, and of course a blog post. Jackie spends a lot of time every week after the show just creating a blog post about the show, and it's very informative, and it will entice you to go and listen to the show. Either we have a YouTube channel now, you can watch us broadcast, and then you can also catch us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, many other venues.
We're going to be everywhere.
Yes.
Long.
we even go out of country now.
That's right. We take a Life Mastery Radio on the road internationally.
Oh man, we should ask for stage time. We could have really had some. Okay, is there anything else that we're missing? Anything else that we have cooking? You know, Jackie, I would put a call out too, is if you know of somebody that you really like and you think they're a fit for the show, drop us a line. I mean, we're easy to find. You can find our emails and our communication styles.
On Facebook. Yeah.
Right on Facebook.
Link us to somebody right on Facebook. If you know someone who has a wonderful message, or you have a message yourself that fits in with our topics, let us know. We'll welcome you aboard.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. Okay. I think we've cleaned house, or we've swept out we've done whatever we've done. It's time for the show. Our guest today is Rose Dedan. And Rose has been in practice since 1996 with Wild Reiki and Shamanic Healing LLC. She is a Reiki master teacher, shamanic energy healer, animal communicator, and author of Tales of a Healer, Animals, Reiki, and Shamanism. Rose offers private sessions for animals and teaches Reiki and shamanic classes, teleclass workshops, and events. And she lives in beautiful downtown Seattle, Washington, which is very
actually it's West Seattle, I think.
Seattle.
Yeah, I think so.
With this might be kind of old, so we'll have to get an update. But with her 3 cats, Sand, Manitou, and Night Sky, I think she has a new cat. Is it Shaman?
Night Sky is actually the new cat, and Sand crossed over into Spirit last year.
There you go. She began her Reiki training on the East Coast in Ushishiki Reiho Reiki in 1995 and became a Reiki master teacher and pioneer in Reiki for animals in 1996. Additional training included the wisdom of Native American and North and South American medicine people, Tibetan Buddhist monks, Tai Chi, Qigong, and instructors, and numerous animal teachers. Again, her book is Tales of the Healer, and you can find that on Amazon. Her website is reikishamanic.com. That link is on lifemasteryradio.net. Okay, Rose, I'm done reading stuff. We're going to just talk. How are you today, my friend?
I'm great. It's beautiful and sunny. As
It's
Jackie
a-
said.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So, you know, I put up this event, and I created this whole Dr. Doolittle thing because I really do believe. I mean, we've had a discussion before. You've been on my show before, and you, to me, are a modern day Dr. Doolittle. But you told me something that he was your favorite person when you were a kid, or how could it not be, right?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be Dr. Doolittle.
Okay, you're Dr. Doolittle. Doink. I'm gonna.
I also wanted to be, you know, the white witch who lived in the wood that the animals, you know, brought their illnesses to from Walt Disney's Thomasina. So it's funny that I ended up in what I was doing. I didn't know it was a profession when I was a kid.
Right, right. Well, there was another thing too. So Todd really pulled a oopsie.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Because I started out
on my screen and was like, what?
Am I going to have to talk in rhymes the whole interview?
And I was like, was that the Cat in the Hat? And
Yeah.
then he said, oh, it must have been Horton the Who. And I was like, okay, that one was it.
So just for the listeners that don't know, I started out with the ad campaign, and I said I recognized her as Dr. Seuss. I totally got Dr. Seuss and Dr. Doolittle mixed up,
which is not easy to do.
I did it.
Well, it's playful as you have to be with the animals.
And I got so many comments. I could really tell who was paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to comment, and then I noticed everybody else was commenting. I thought, I'm not going to say anything and make him feel worse.
I didn't say anything because I figured, you know, it's going to get a lot of people's attention.
Yeah.
So what was it about Dr. Doolittle that intrigued you so as a young person? I guess the main question, Rose, is did you always have a connection with animals? You know, I have 2 daughters, and I've had animals all around me all the time, and they just love animals. They have become animal rights activists, vegan. I mean, a total transformation in you know what I thought they would be, I guess. And so did you always know and feel that connection with animals?
Yeah, I was animal crazy as far as I know from the day I was born. And which I may have inherited that from my mother, because she was always bringing home some stray injured animal. My father was not an animal person. Allergies to animals.
Oh.
He had to get shots every week.
Wow.
For years. But so we had kittens we were taking care of. We had diving ducks in the bathtub. I mean, you know, we had a chicken on our inside porch. You know, the day that she decided she's going to hatch the peacocks, I was like, oh God. Fortunately, none of them hatched.
Oh.
So for myself, I was always wherever the animals were. You know, I could be found like under the table with the dogs, that kind of thing. And as far as Dr. Doolittle is concerned, it's besides the fact I always felt safe with animals, there was just that, you know, we got each other, which I can't always say is true of, you know, people. That ability that Dr. Doolittle supposedly had, you know, to be able to talk to the animals. I always think of Rex Harrison for some reason as the epitome of Dr. Doolittle. But not only that, but the healing part. And that was also true of the movie, the 3 Lives of Thomasina. It was the healing aspect that really strongly appealed to me, the ability to help them. And my mother told me that she always took us to the Philadelphia Zoo. I grew up in South Jersey, so it was a bit of an expedition to get there. But no matter how young I was, she said, I always had to visit each and every one of the animals. And it's a good sized zoo, especially for a little kid.
Right.
And I knew where each and every one of them were. And it's interesting that once I got involved in Reiki and then in shamanism at exactly the same time where I kind of started to transition into shamanism, I was also presented with not an opportunity. Basically, I got pushed into doing ceremony with the Philadelphia zoo animals. And that resulted in my work with zoo animals elsewhere, especially here where I am now. There are 4 zoos that are accessible to me here in West Seattle. So it's really taken on a whole different, a much larger scope than just individual healing sessions, as Dr. Doolittle did.
Right.
South Sea snail, for example. It's the ceremonies are from the standpoint of global healing, not just individual.
Well, let's just drill down in that just a little bit, because you said that you've combined Reiki and shamanism, and maybe describe for us the difference in those modalities and how it is that you've worked them together.
So usually I don't blend them. It's like,
Okay.
okay, I'm going to do this part with this and that part with that.
Okay.
And maybe interweave the Reiki, for example. So Reiki was my first love, I guess you could say. I fell in love with Reiki when I encountered it. It's a high vibrational energy. It's universal life force energy is how it's referred to. The key in it is Ki, in the word Reiki. Stands for sacred energy, basically. And it's the same as the Chinese word Qi. So a Reiki practitioner receives a series of attunements that opens their energy channels, that enables them to connect more fully with this universal life force energy and be a conduit, a straw for the recipient, which makes it a safe form of healing. It doesn't involve using any of your personal energy. And it's one of the reasons why Reiki practitioners can, once they receive the attunement and the training, can immediately begin to offer Reiki healing to others, as well as doing their own personal healing work. Shamanism, it requires a bit more study. There are many forms of shamanism worldwide. Many indigenous, as far as I know, all indigenous cultures have a form of shamanism. And despite language barriers, we would probably speak the same energetic and ceremonial language. They are connected to the land. They are connected to everything that surrounds them, the stone people, the animal people, the plant people, the winds. All of nature speaks. And the shaman or medicine person's job essentially is to listen and interpret for the village. That's the way it was traditionally. The villages these days have gotten much larger.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, it's literally a global scale. And so I jokingly call myself a techno shaman, because I've had to learn a whole bunch of things that don't have anything to do with shamanism in order to get the message out there on social media. But it's the perfect platform. So shamanism is an earth-based energy, because it's about connections to everything that surrounds us. Therefore, it's a denser energy than Reiki. And in healing, I like to say that, shamanism is all sweetness and light. It's very gentle shifts. Shamanism is like a bulldozer. It can really get in there and, move something quickly.
Cool.
And I found that the two of them create a wonderful balance together. It's like heaven and earth, essentially, bringing those two elements together. So,
As so above, so below.
yes, there's a lot of, intention is everything. As we know.
Yes. Cool.
Well, I know it was many years ago. You were on the show, and we had such a wonderful time, and it was a great discussion. And I can't believe it's been so long since I've had you back, Rose, but welcome back to Life Mastery Radio. But after that show, you know, Jackie and I were good friends. We've been friends for a very long time. I think it's probably close to 10 years now, right, Jack?
Yeah, probably.
Somewhere around there. And she was sharing with me the story of her dog she had at the time. And I connected you two together. And I know that Jackie had a wonderful experience. So, Jackie, maybe you could start off by just sharing that how that looked and how that worked.
Yes, like Rose, I am an animal person, but mostly a dog person. I feel like I'm sort of a dog whisperer of sorts. And that they're an animal that I've always been drawn to. And I had 2 dogs. One of them had died 6 months prior to this when we found out that my dog Bandy had cancer in her knee. And they wanted to amputate the leg, but she was already 10 or 11 years old. And I felt that the surgery might actually be more harmful to her than treating the cancer any other way. But thanks to you, Todd, I was feeling a little bit uncertain about what should I do? When is the right time to let her go? And how could I know that? And then you mentioned your conversation that you'd had with Rose. So I contacted Rose right away. And the experience that I had with you, Rose, was so amazing. And I couldn't even really talk about it for a while because I knew it was spiritual, but it also was a little bit beyond my understanding of spirituality in a sense that it was hard for me to actually describe.
Articulate.
But yeah, but so Rose, through a phone call, I sent her a picture of Bandy, and then through a phone call with Bandy sitting next to me, Rose was communicating with Bandy, and I could see Bandy reacting physically to certain things that Rose was doing and saying that she was doing it. I could see that Bandy was relaxing and falling into a deep sleep, which she hadn't done. On the medication she was on, it was making her extremely hungry. And it wasn't that she needed the food, it was just that her body was craving this food. And in this conversation that Rose had with her, she explained to Bandy that the medicine was making her hungry. And my fear was that she was going to eat something she shouldn't, like soap or something like that, right? Because she was just ravenous to eat anything.
Wow.
So Rose helped her to understand that feeling that way was because of the medicine that she was taking, and that could she try to control her appetite a little bit more. And Bandy said, yes, I will. I'm a good girl. And it was so sweet. And, you know, Bandy had kind of disconnected with us a little bit during that time because she was in pain and she was in discomfort. But after this session with Rose, she was like a different dog again. She laid by me. She let me cuddle with her. She let me pet her. And that was such a change in the month or so before that, because she just didn't want to be touched. And so that was a huge, and Bandy told me that she didn't want to go yet. She wasn't ready, that she was there to heal me.
So, Rose, is that kind of a tip? Look, both of you are just, I mean, you're my eyes are getting a little teary here. But is that typical, Rose, of a session? I mean, you work remotely. Is that typical how this works?
Well, obviously different animal communicators work differently. This is how I work.
Right.
Yeah, I now solely do distance or remote sessions. I found them to be the most effective from the standpoint is, I mean, I love seeing the animals, but there's distractions that happen if you have an animal physically in front of you, and they're distracted too if they're in a different environment, if they're in my space, for example. So having them be able to be at home where they're comfortable, not having to travel somewhere, especially cats. All of my cat sessions for years have been with the, cat staying home because it's just not, it's not their comfort. So yes, working distantly, energy, there's no distance in energy. It's not bounded by it. One of the fascinating things that I learned in Reiki, and it also applies to shamanism. And quantum physics talks about it. You know, the time is something that you can step in and out of. It's a spiral rather than being a straight line. So a lot of my work is with animals who are believed to be near end of life, and or senior animals that are experiencing a lot of health challenges, chronic issues, that sort of thing. And it's the area that I find, I guess you could say I specialize in it. I find it, I love helping the senior animals to feel more comfortable in their bodies to the best of the ability of the energy. It's not me, you know, I'm the conduit, the straw, the hollow bone. But, you know, for people as well, you know, having our bodies wear out does not mean that we can't have quality of life.
Right.
And so when energy is balanced, and the senior animals are kind of like, our bodies become more porous, energetically speaking. So the chi or the ki or the life force kind of leaks out and heavy energy seeps in. And so regular maintenance sessions, which is one of the things I do for some of the very senior, or I do have a lot of cats who have kidney issues. And it's really fascinating to see the kidney values, you know, measured by the vet don't change, but the cat's quality of life changes completely. They go back to playing and, you know, doing the things that they love to do. Oftentimes, like right up until the body just suddenly goes, that's it, I'm done. So it's like we give them quality of life until, you know, the body's basically used up.
Rose, in one of the stories in your book, I think it was titled "The Wheel," and you talked about this bumblebee or a bee that fell into this vat and said to you, "Summer has ended, the cycle is turning, it's a good day to die." And your conclusion in that story was that you never try to consider the source too small to teach us something important. And here was this tiny little insect that you learned a lesson from. And then you talked about shape-shifting and during that transition time. Can you tell us what shape-shifting means?
Oh boy, you picked a good one, huh?
Did I?
So the story in question, and I'll say, I'm glad you gave me some context because I often don't remember the titles of my
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So I was doing a shamanic despacho at the time. So I was in ceremony. Sacred space was open. Despacho was created on a piece of paper with lots of different natural elements that represent certain things. And to have this bee just basically, I mean, it hit me in the forehead and just fell dead into the despacho. It didn't knock itself out. It was just like heading straight for the light kind of thing, and boom, I'm going in the sacred space. It was the most amazing moment. Synchronicity multiplied.
Right.
So dying is a form of shape-shifting, shifting from the physical into the realm of spirit. It's also used as a terminology for, I've heard stories about indigenous people who can shapeshift into various animal forms. And I do believe that it is possible. I've experienced an aspect of it. Not a full-on. I could probably go ballistic if that happened. So I tend to think of it more as state shifting, you know, shifting from one way of being to another. And there's perceptual state shifting, and then there's also energetic state shifting. And all of it's all of it helps us to grow and change, essentially. And can
Right.
be in personal healing or for healing of others. In a healing session, essentially what the practitioner does is be grounded, balanced, and centered. Just completely in a state of balance. And everything in the universe, balance is what everything is, the state everything wants to be in. So if you're not well, then you're not in balance. And so we hold space to remind the body, where it's supposed to be. And so then it can go, oh yeah, there it is. I forgot how that state of being was. And so now I can shed this because it's getting in the way.
So is it, did you feel that this be seeked you? That's not even a word. Did this
thought her out? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, because some of the stories that I read, right? Some of the stories that I read in your book, and I watched some YouTube videos and some videos that you have. And in certain cases, Rose, you've documented that animals have sought you out. They've because they could feel that connection. And maybe describe that a little bit. I think you had one story of your neighborhood cat. Her name was Gracie, and she would always come to you when she had an ailment, and because she couldn't communicate with her people. I just love the way you called them her people.
Well, they were her people.
Right. How else do you describe? So if you were a cat or a dog, how would you describe that person? I mean, that's my people. That's my person. It's kind of cool.
Nice people, yes. Because, a lot of times they take care of us.
Right.
Yeah, Gracie is one story. It happens to me and to my Reiki students all the time. I call it being an animal Reiki magnet. And, it's, the animals recognize the energy, the healing energy. I've had yellow jackets come to me that were on the point of dying, and 5 or 10 minutes of Reiki, and they transitioned. They wanted help with the process. I had a butterfly that I was sitting talking to someone in the backyard, and we finished talking, and I got up, and on the pillow next to me, she hadn't said anything, my friend, but a butterfly had landed there, and it had part of its wing missing.
Oh.
And it had waited patiently for me to notice it and to offer Reiki. I did. And then when I could feel the energy kind of slow, and the butterfly kind of moved its wings, and then it flew off to one of the nearby butterfly-friendly flowers and had some nectar, tanking up, getting some energy. And it happened to be sunset, and I watched it fly off into the sunset, around the corner, and was gone. It was just a lovely moment. But yes, Gracie was a cat neighbor who lived across the street from me, and she was friendly with everybody. She loved people. If you had a yard sale, a garage sale, you were out gardening, Gracie would be with you. If she couldn't find anybody, she'd go to the corner store and hang out with the shoppers there. And I opened one door one day to find Gracie sitting on my doorstep waiting for me, something she'd never done. So she indicated that she wanted me to do some Reiki on her. And she wanted me to pick her up, which is something I'd never done. I don't usually pick up cats unless they really indicate that's what they want. So I pick her up, and she immediately assumes the baby position, belly up, which is like, okay, fine. So I put a hand on her tummy, and I start offering her Reiki, and she just blissed out. I mean, if it's like their eyes roll back in her head, she's drooling. I mean, she's just totally happy, and she's purring. And the energy started to die down, and so we were complete. And I didn't know what was wrong with her because I don't I'm not a vet. I don't diagnose. And that's the beauty of the energy. I don't have to diagnose. It goes to where it's needed. So I told her people, you know, what had happened and suggested that they might want to take her to the vet because there was something definitely wrong. That she was really pulling the energy in. So it turned out she had a bladder infection. And they got that kid taken care of. And a little time passed. And again, I found Gracie on my doorstep. So I picked her up. Again, we went through the same routine. She had the same response. Told her people. Took her to the vet. Turned out she had a small abscess on her head that nobody had noticed. A little time goes by. Find Gracie on my doorstep again. Except this time she's like, meow, 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 meow. And I was like, oh my God, really? So she had, it was the 4th of July the day before, and she was telling me how scary all the bangs and booms were. So this time she wanted Reiki for emotional healing. So I told her people, you know, suggested that maybe the next 4th of July they keep her inside. And then the final time, it was 11 o'clock at night, and there was a knock on the door. And I had noticed over the last couple of months that Gracie was different, but she hadn't shown up on my doorstep. And her people said that she'd been missing for a day and a half and had been found in a puddle, lying in someone's driveway, and she couldn't move. Here I come. So I said, of course. So I went across the street, and they had her on a chair. And Gracie saw me. And she tried to crawl into my arms. And I just encircled her on the chair and I said, it's okay, we'll do it this way. And I worked with her and got to the point where, you know, she was complete. And I told her people, I said, you know, I've done everything I can for her. She was nice and calm by this point. She'd been really freaked out. And I said, you now need to take her to the emergency vet because, you know, she needs to see a vet. She needs a diagnosis. But I didn't tell them this, but I was very sure that I was saying goodbye to Gracie. I didn't know what was wrong with her. I suspected, you know, a major stroke or a brain tumor. The doctor thought brain tumor. And yeah, so they let her out of her body.
Now, Rose, when you're talking with an animal, I mean, and we say talking, but that's what kind of basically what my question is. Do you hear a voice?
Like Dr. Doolittle.
No. But do you hear a voice, or is it just a clear understanding of what they're communicating to you?
Sometimes it's a voice. We can get information in different ways, and our filters interpret it in different ways, I guess you could say, the universal translator. So with Lioness Adia, who had actually never spoken to me before, we did every year I've done an after hours event because the zoo had a program where you could come in after hours and do a special tour, and the tour became adapted to what I do, going in ceremony, collecting the prayers with the people. And they stopped doing the program. So my last time there, Lioness Adia totally flipped me out because she normally doesn't pay any attention to me. Xerxes, he's all about her husband. He's all about the energy in the ceremony. He was there for the ceremony with the lions. I have a video about that where you can actually see him give direction to his cubs, you know, interact with us, begin and end the ceremony. But Adia was always like, on the sidelines, you know. Yeah, he's got it. So she looked right at me, and she was waiting for me, and she looked right at me, and she said, don't stop. And I said, okay, I won't. Somehow I will find a way to get back in here. And unfortunately, she passed away just recently.
Oh. So animals, Rose, animals are, so how can I say this? Animals are probably more in tune than we as humans are, and they can sense they can sense that somebody can help them. There's been so many instances of wild animals coming up to humans lately because of something wrong. A mama duck, her babies are stuck. Something else has. I think I watched a goose, and the goose was all wound up in some netting, and because I think geese pair for life, and the other goose went and found some humans to come and help them. And so they're a little more aware, I guess my point is, than we are, really.
So it's going out into the animal world that the people are starting to listen. So the animals have always been capable of doing
Right. That's
things are changing, thankfully. I know the news often is dire, in the news channels, but there are an awful lot of people whose awareness is raising. I consider it the 100th monkey concept. That's the line of work that I do. It's like, I can't reach everybody, but if I can just reach enough people, and other people who are doing this work are getting the same messages and are doing similar things.
right.
And so we're raising the vibration, if you want to call it that, the awareness. The animals are definitely aware. They're like, okay, they're finally listening. And so now we can find the person who's, who can help us,
Right.
in these situations.
I've seen some amazing things. YouTube is just phenomenal. But the one thing that's really blowing me away, first of all, my kids are really in tune with animal rights and animal activism and just all the horrific things that are going through to provide us with some kind of food supply. It totally really rattles my cage, and more people are becoming aware of that. But I saw this video, Rose, of this gentleman, and he was on a pond, and he would whistle and put his hand down in the water, and this bass would come up and let him pet it. And then the bass would swim away. I mean, this was documented. It was real. I swear it was real. I swear. And then he would whistle again, and this bass would swim up into his hand, and the bass would let him pet it. So, you see those kinds of things, and you have to think, wow, something that we thought really didn't understand or wasn't really conscious. A person has to grasp the thought that these animals have a conscious awareness, and they have needs and wants too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. No argument here.
So then, do animals possess the ability to do Reiki, or is it just adults that have that energy power?
Well, okay, so I'm a little radical from a Reiki standpoint. I know now there are other people out there, but initially when I first got involved in Reiki, I received the guidance after I became a Reiki master and learned how to, offer attunements to Reiki students. I received the guidance, a poke, if you will, from my guides. Said, hey, you're supposed to attune animals. I was like, what? That's not in any of the Reiki books. None of my teachers talked about that. Wouldn't I be doing something wrong? And they're like, just like do it. And I'm like, oh God. So I started offering attunements to my own animals. And Shaman was a black and white tuxedo guy. And he suddenly stepped into the role of healer. Now, animals are attracted to the energy. So a lot of students, for example, report, when they do their self-Reiki, that their dog or cat or multiples, will join them and pile on. But Shaman approached it from the standpoint of an equal healer. And so the first professional session with a table that I did for someone, she got on the table, laid down, and then Shaman got on her and stretched out from her throat chakra all the way to her root chakra. And he looked at me and he's like, and what are you waiting for? I was like, okay, so I have the head position. All right. So, and now what are we doing? So we did tandem Reiki.
Hmm.
And then my cat, Sakara, who was 2 years younger than Shaman, also began becoming part of the healing sessions and also the classes. I would have 2 tables going with students, and Sakara would be on one table and Shaman would have the other, and I would be going back and forth between the two. So it's a choice like it is with people. Yes, I do offer attunements in appropriate situations for animals for healing purposes. It can be very healing both for humans and animals. But I essentially tell the people, this is not, they're going to become a Reiki cat or dog, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go out, and offer Reiki to others. It does mean that they're going to have greater access to that energy. Should they choose to share it with others, they have that option. I leave it to their guides for training, because they just seem to automatically know anyways. So yes, animals can be healers. Some of them are just Reiki sponges. They like to be part of the energy and in the energy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are offering messages, guidance, and moving from chakra to chakra as Shaman and Sakara did.
I have to tell you the story, Rose, because it totally blows me away when I think about it. I just shared it with Jackie, but it was a year ago, and I found this cat, a senior cat, on my porch, and he was near death. This I knew. He was really rickety, and you could tell he hadn't eaten in a while. Oh my gosh. So I tried to get some food in him, and then the next day I took him to my personal vet, who's a really good friend of mine. Got him all fixed up, and there really wasn't anything wrong with him. Of course, he had bad teeth, and he looked like he maybe had arthritis, and so I took him home. And it was a pretty cool cat. He slept a lot, but he had the most obnoxious meow. I was just like, oh my gosh. So my daughter came over, and she just fell in love with this cat and named him Milo. And, I kind of live in the woods, and I really couldn't see a good fit for Milo. And my daughter was a sophomore at the university. And so we organized it and figured out how she could take this cat with her. So she took this cat with her, and this was the first year that she was going to be living completely on her own at school. And this cat is still alive today and makes a lovely roommate for my daughter. And I have seen a huge amount of growth over the last year with my daughter in her ability to, just make decisions, living on her own, making choices. And I have to think that this cat came into our world to help with that healing and her understanding of it's time to be an adult now.
Huh.
Yeah,
What do you think, Rose? What would be your prognosis?
I'd say that he knew what he was doing.
Right. I have to agree with you. It's such a great story. I told Jackie, and Jackie's like, really?
Well, we've talked a lot about cats and some dogs and even insects, but you work with much larger animals. And in fact, in a few weeks, you're going to go out and have a conversation, hopefully, with the whales that are resident here in Washington. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be doing there, Rose?
So several years ago, I was called by the whales, the gray whales, humpbacks, and the orcas, transient and southern resident, to bring the people in ceremony. And so I set up like 3 different whale watch events and 3 different telecalls to go with that, and collect their prayers, bring them and the people together in ceremony, because what the animals have taught me, what my guides keep telling me consistently, is that together we are strong. And so we can create shift and change together. If we bring the prayers of the people together with the prayers and wishes of the animals, then we can co-create change. And many people may be aware of the plight of our southern resident orcas was brought to like international, global attention when Orca mother Taliqua, carried her sadly deceased baby for 17 days.
Mm-hmm.
The baby only lived.
It was quite a story.
Yeah, baby only lived 30 minutes, and she carried that baby. And the message I got was that yes, there was definitely mourning, but it was also a matter of love, but it was also a message. We're calling out to you. We need your help. Drawing attention. I mean, everybody knew that story practically worldwide. And it just so happened that the family group from several years before is JPod, which is where Taliqua is. And so I'm going out again on a single whale watch, if people want to go on the whale watch themselves, they're welcome to sign up. There's a page on my website for this event, but the whale watch is, not, the registration is not my event for that. Right. There's a registration for a telecall where we're going to have shamanic guidance, journeying, messages, storytelling from what happens on the whale watch, etc. We're going to weave all that together. And I don't know what direction it'll take. Obviously, it's listening to the whales, not just the southern residents, but all the orcas and all the whales.
Wow. And I know that at your website, ReikiHealer.com, they're on the event. Oh, ReikiHealerShamanic.com. No.
ReikiShamanic.com.
Oh, Reiki Shamanic. Why did I write down Reiki? Goodness gracious. But you could go to lifemasteryradio.com and follow the link. There we go. Oh my gosh, ladies, we just have about 3 minutes left. All the information on how to connect with Rose Dedan is on her website. Like I said, go to lifemasteryradio.net.com and you can follow the links. Thank you so much, Rose, for coming and joining us today. The hour just flew by and it went so fast.
It did. Thank you.
Yeah, keep up the great work. You do such a great job, and you have such a great smile. Keep that going too. It will take you places. I promise.
Was that Dr. Seuss?
Oh, the faces that will take you places. Does that sound like Dr. Seuss?
Oh, the places will go.
Right.
Quickly, Jackie, who do we have on next week? We have
Larry Snyder, who wrote a book about philanthropists and how we can be more like them. And he talks about 12 people he knows who have done amazing philanthropic work. Yep. So
yeah, I just learned that he's a fellow Toastmaster too. So
nice.
Toastmasters unite. Here we go. Thanks again, Rose. That's about all we have time for today. I would lastly just like you to consider checking out our website, checking out my book, and please, please, please make it a great day because it is all about choice and you can choose to help the animals like Rose too. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Life Mastery with Todd Allen.